Okay, so Nintendo recently released a new Nintendo Switch known as the Nintendo Switch OLED. So no, it's not the heavily rumored Nintendo Switch Pro. This one to me is kind of more so focused on enhancements of gameplay, and you can kind of look at it like in comparison to an iPhone as the S iteration of an iPhone. So more improvements and enhancements versus innovative features. But I'm personally excited about this because I have been trying to hold off on buying a new Switch. I failed miserably. I ended up getting the limited edition Animal Crossing Switch when it came back in stock a couple of months ago. Now, do I regret that purchase knowing that this one's coming around the corner? Let's talk. Okay, so the first difference that we see with the Nintendo Switch OLED is the design. It has a 7.1-inch display instead of the 6.2-inch display that's offered on the current standard Switch. Now, I'm personally interested to see what the 7.1-inch OLED Switch would be like in hand, because I know I was nervous about jumping from the regular Switch that I owned to the Nintendo Switch Lite. I thought the display of the Nintendo Switch Lite was going to be too small for my preference. I wanted to make sure that I was still going to enjoy gameplay and not be squinting in the process, But it actually wasn't a bad change at all. I enjoyed my time on the Nintendo Switch Lite and really only upgraded back to the Nintendo Switch because I'm interested in starting a gaming channel around Animal Crossing, but that's a whole nother story in itself. But as far as the resolution up here, you're gonna have a 720p display, which is the same as the previous standard Switch. So there's no resolution upgrades, and it even has the same number of pixels as the previous standard Switch. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna look on a bigger screen, but with it being OLED, hopefully that'll make up for any potential differences that we might see in knowing those things. Now, the thing about it having an OLED display instead of an LCD display offered on the previous version is that it's going to offer you more advantages like better viewing angles, more contrast, and deeper blacks. Things should be nice and vibrant up here. And if you take a look at the screen, you'll notice that the display on the new OLED Switch actually has smaller bezels. So I think that should be some type of visual improvement as well. Another change we'll see here is better speakers. So Nintendo states that it has enhanced audio for standard and handheld play. And that's about all they said in reference to that, so I'm curious to see how that translates in person. Another design difference is the stand that's built into the Switch. So on the previous version, the stand was pretty small and flimsy, whereas this one takes up pretty much the entire back of the Switch. So it's gonna give you not only just a more stable, tabletop experience when you place it down, but also more viewing angles. And in reference to weight, the new OLED Switch comes in at 0.93 pounds versus the 0.88 pounds offered on the previous version, and that's with Joy-Cons attached. So although it has a bigger display, it shouldn't affect too much in hand the experience that you're already accustomed to. Now, color options. Currently it comes in white, so the dock is white, the Switch is white. I don't dislike it, but I guess I get nervous about potential scuffs or things like that happening. I don't know, I guess in my mind, I feel like because it's white, it might show blemishes, quicker than the other color options, but that's probably all in my head. But outside of it having a new color, the button layout and all of that still appears to be the same. Now, when it comes to the dock, there are some improvements there. So something I noticed about the new dock is that it has these rounded edges and it doesn't have that same type of boxy design as the previous version. And on top of that, the logo on the outside is smaller as well. That white colorway that we see on the Switch is also offered on the dock as well, so everything is nice and color matched. Real simple design here. But one of the key differences with the dock is that it now has a built-in Ethernet port. So that's going to give you a more solid connection and reduce latency during online gameplay. But you still have the 1080p output option when you connect it to a TV, so no differences there. Now, storage and specs. So it does play the same games as the original Switch with the same internal specs for the most part. So you're not gonna see any enhanced gameplay or things like that. Would have been nice, but not on this one at least. As far as storage is concerned, the base model comes with 64 gigs of internal storage, which is double the storage that was previously offered, which is 32 gigs. And it still supports micro SD cards up to 2 terabytes. So no hardware upgrades that will make games run faster or make more graphically intense games playable. Now, this OLED model does also come with Bluetooth 4.1, which is more so for the controllers, and at least right now is not an indication that we'll now be able to use wireless headphones with it. But I'm hoping that Nintendo, brings that out at some point, because I think a lot of us now use headphones wirelessly more than we do with a wired connection. And maybe in their mind, because you're gaming and you want to reduce the latency of audio, you're more inclined to use a wired headphone set, but it would be nice. It would be real nice to be able to have the option to use Bluetooth headphones without the need of an adapter or an additional piece to do so, because there are some hacks out there. And I'll link one below in the description box that I'm using, which is a little dongle that I got off of Amazon that will let me connect a pair of Bluetooth headphones. But I don't want to have to do all that. I'd rather it be integrated. So that would be something nice to see in the future and down the road. If not made possible with the software update, I don't know, I might be reaching, because I don't know how that stuff works. I just know it's a feature that I want. And if you're concerned about the battery life, there are no differences there, y'all. This OLED model still has the same estimated battery life as the previous standard Switch. So in short, the changes here is that we have a higher quality display, twice the storage, better sound, a better kickstand, and built-in Ethernet. And if those changes sound good to you, then let's talk price. So this new OLED model is going to go for $349, which is $50 more than the standard Switch, which is currently offered at $300. And if you're interested in picking one up, they're going to be available on October 8th. So I see this new OLED model as a great option for new Switch owners, and more so of something to consider for existing Switch owners. Now me, I'm gonna get it. I'm an existing Switch owner, but I like the changes that this one brings. And of course I wanna be able to have it to be able to review for you all, but outside of the review purposes, I would like to have it for my own personal gameplay. Now I'm interested to see what the purchase process of this is gonna be like, because yeah, I'm not for all the craziness, if at all possible, so God knows. Let there be something in place to make this a bit more of a smoother shopping experience for those that aren't reselling. But anyway, let me know what you think of the new OLED Switch. Are there some features that were missing that you would have loved to have seen? Drop it down below in the comment section, because I'm gonna be hanging out there for a little bit after the video. And as always, y'all, thanks for taking the time out to let me tech you out.